we will start the meeting immediately. So on this note, we will formally call the meeting to order. We have one item on the agenda, but then before that, I will invite the administration's team to join us. And I want to report to you that for the agenda next time, maybe we should have a discussion. First of all, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. We haven't received any proposed amendments to the minutes, so let's confirm the minutes. Second, information paper issued since the last meeting. A member of the public sent an email on issues relating to the alignment of statutory holidays with general holidays. Please refer to paper LC CB bracket 2 1033/13 to 14 bracket 01. It's been sent out to you. Date of next meeting and items for discussion. Yes, the admin is present, so let me talk about the date of the next meeting. The next regular meeting will be held on the 15th of April at 4:30 p.m. The LWB has proposed two items. First, about occupational safety in the construction industry, and then the other one is about the major findings of the 2013 annual earnings and hours survey. Any questions? For the qualifications framework, Mr. Chairman, has been on the list for a long time. When do we get to discuss that? The policy address also mentioned that point as well. Yes, the policy address related briefings have already included a briefing on qualifications framework. So if you have any specific points that you're interested in, you can make the proposal, and then we can invite the administration to have a discussion with us. Ms. Chen Yun-Han, for the standard working hours. Dr. Sich Leung is leading a committee on this matter, but they say that they will deliver a report towards the end of the year, but it will be too long for us to wait that much time. Shouldn't they come back with an interim report? Well, for the Standing Working Hours Committee, we have asked the administration and the SWHC to report their progress to us from time to time. So we're going to make arrangements. Between quarter 2 and quarter 3, there will be a briefing. So Ms. Chen is saying that we should do it ASAP. Yes, ASAP, before we enter the summer recess. I'm certainly will get it. Like an interim report. Yes, they are in the process of consultation. I emphasize that they must give us an interim report, a progress report. Don't make us wait until end of the year. We still have the major issue of political reform. While we still have time in the first half of the year, why don't we deal with this? That is, in May or June, we should visit this topic. All right, if you haven't got any questions about the agenda next time, then we will discuss today's agenda. We're supposed to end at 6:45. Maybe we can extend it to 7. I would like to give the floor to the administration. And paper CB bracket 2. 104113 to 14 bracket 03 working holiday scheme. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the year 2001, for the first time, we launched the working holiday scheme. The purpose is to enhance bilateral social and cultural ties between Hong Kong and other economies. Under this scheme, our young people aged between 18 and 30 will be offered the opportunity to live and work in other economies, so as to acquire understanding of these places' developments, thereby broadening their horizons and enriching their exposure. Apart from strengthening exchanges between Hong Kong and our partner economies, the working holiday scheme also enhances bilateral cooperation and promotes tourism development between the two places. basis. It has been popular among our young people since it was launched in 2001. At that time, there was only one country involved, namely New Zealand. And over the years, we have increased the number of partner economies. So far, we've got 9, including the UK. Young people from such economies may also apply to come to Hong Kong through WHS via the respective Chinese embassies or consulates general and the Immigration Department of Hong Kong. Hong Kong youth may stay in such economies for a longer period of time and gain a deeper understanding of the economy's social development. They may also take up short-term employment to supplement the living expenses. Through tourism and short-term stay, our young people can acquire precious life experience, strengthen their life, their self-confidence, resilience, and interpersonal skills. We believe that the WHS has brought about a lot of benefits and it is very popular among the young people. And therefore, in his policy address this year, the CE has indicated that the government would explore the signing of such arrangements with more economies. In the coming year, we're going to promote the scheme, and if necessary, we'll negotiate with our partner economies about increasing the quota so that we can encourage more young people to step out of Hong Kong to reach out to the world. And at the same time, more overseas young people can also enhance their understanding about Hong Kong. That's all from me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. K.K. Kwok and Mr. Prince Xiu Ping. Mr. Chairman, 5 minutes each. The scheme is very popular among the young people. I want to know what other partner economies would join the scheme in the coming year or two. And then for the quota, we haven't got a quota for Australia, but I want to know how many applicants have they received from Hong Kong, and then do they provide any support before they depart from Hong Kong for the participants of the scheme? I want to know whether the Labour Department provide any specific help. Say, for example, do you provide a briefing session to them? And do you have measures to help them to adapt to their living there?
And if they encounter any problem when they are there, whether it be in the area of employment or when they're holidaying, what support will be given to them? Can you give us the number of requests for assistance in the past few years? The UK joined on the 1st of January this year as our 9th partner. We are now discussing very actively with Chile. Discussions are already at a very mature stage. We hope to sign an agreement with Chile soon. And in the coming year, we will continue to explore places where young people would like to visit and where they can benefit more. Regarding whether there is any quota for Australia, well, there is no quota limit. Well, in 2012, there was 10,047 young people from Hong Kong, and for the first half of 2013, 4,495. As regards assistance we can render if they are stranded, well, throughout the year we have seminars at different tertiary institutions to introduce the scheme to them, and then we will remind and encourage young people to take out sufficient medical insurance before they set off to ensure that they have sufficient protection. And we've also got a 24-hour hotline for assistance to Hong Kong residents, 852-1868. So if they call 1868, we'll see what physical assistance we can render. We don't have any statistics on the number of requests for assistance. This is strange. Does that mean that they have never sought your assistance, or is it because the administration has no intention to keep such statistics at all? According to media reports, they have run into various problems, including traffic accidents and injury at work. It's strange that you don't have any statistics on this. When they apply for a visa, will the immigration department be know, or will only be known to the host countries? Take Australia's example. Well, in 2012 it was over 10,000, and the first half of last year 4,000 odd. So will the Labour Department have a database? Well, you ask them to take out medical insurance, and how can you ensure that they can receive your advice? We have publicity and talks on a regular basis every year. So young people interested will be reminded at talks as to what they on points to note, and then we'll also approach these embassies to ascertain how many young people from Hong Kong has applied for visas and approved in the year. Regarding the assistance to Hong Kong residents 24-hour hotline, well, it is not set up solely for young people of the WHS. Hong Kong people who are outside Hong Kong for study, for work, for whatever reasons, can call that hotline for help if in need. Have you done any, say, questionnaire survey to see what improvements can be made to the scheme? Has Labour Department done that? We have approached Hong Kong people who've come back. They've established an association. We approached them, and we have a website, and we can communicate with these young people. Mr. Pun Xiaoping, yes, I think the scheme is well received by young people. What about young people coming from other economies to Hong Kong? They can apply a visa through Chinese embassies or at our immigration department. According to your paper, 3,200 young people have come to Hong Kong. How many of them applied through Chinese embassies? How many through our immigration department? And these young people what trades were they engaged in when they were here? So the scheme is open for those between 18 and 30 years old. Of course, this is subject to the agreement of both parties. But have you ever considered extending the upper age limit to 35 years old? We have no statistics as to whether these 3,200 youths applied for a visa through Chinese embassies or at our immigration department. Because when they have obtained visa to come to Hong Kong, they can seek jobs on their own. They have no obligation to report to us. I think most of them have engaged in short-term employment that doesn't require a lot of skills. And for this age bracket, I think this is the international practice. For most countries, WHS is catered for the age bracket 18 to 30. Well, since you don't have the information, can you find out what industries they engaged in when they were here? Mr. Chen? Well, on a regular basis, we approach consulates general and embassies to find out what they do here. Most of them came here mainly for holidaying. Some were language teachers, teaching Hong Kong young people a language, their home language. And for Hong Kong youths in other countries, they engage in retail and catering industries. Okay. Ms. Ann Jiang, thank you, Chairman. So I'd like to ask, these Hong Kong youths, do our Chinese embassies know of their existence in these countries, or do we just let them go? Well, after they have obtained the visa from the respective embassy in Hong Kong, they can set off their journey. There is no obligation for them to inform the immigration department or the local Chinese embassy. But of course, we've always told them that if they are in need, they can either approach the local Chinese embassy or call our hotline for help. They have no obligation to report to the Chinese embassy when they arrive. But before they set off, they need financial proof. And they must present a round trip ticket. For those, I'd like to know whether the people whose applications were rejected because they could not provide sufficient financial support, proof of financial support. Some went on WHS for holidaying or for work. Some could also join or enroll in short-term courses. This is not allowed in Ireland. Will you consider discussing with Ireland to allow Hong Kong youths to enroll in short-term courses there? Yes, when we discuss with consulate generals, we will ask for the number of applications and also the number of cases rejected. We also ask for the reasons of rejection. Some of them might have a financial problem, but there might be some other reasons, and they will not make known to us. And as for short-term courses, Ireland apply the same restriction to all partners of WHS, so it may not be easy to get their consent at this point. Mr. Kwok. Well, I think the scheme must be popular because young people can then visit different places and accumulate work experience. And there is a quota for all economies. I only see the quota for different countries, but not the number of applications. Is competition intense, or do they have to be resolved by balloting, or is it a case that not all the quotas are fully taken up? And I'd like to know whether Hong Kong youths have encountered difficulties. For instance, have they ever been robbed? Have they engaged in illegal activities, or were they victims of fraud? No, I'm not saying that we're going to object the scheme simply because of these hiccups. We will support the scheme anyway. I just want to alert future applicants. And as the Deputy Commissioner mentioned, they have got an alumni association. I'd like to know whether the Labour Department has ever assisted them to organize sharing sessions in schools so that young people who are thinking of joining the scheme can be made aware of the details and points to note. We keep in close contact with the embassies and to see how well the quota has been taken up. For really popular places, we will discuss with these countries to see whether the quota can be increased. For instance, at first, there was a quota of 1,000 involving Australia, but because it's very popular, we have finally succeeded in lifting the quota limit. And Germany, it used to be 100. And South Korea, because it's so popular among young people, the quota has been increased from 200 to 500. So assistant commissioners will discuss with consulate generals. And so far, we've not received complaints, or rather information, of Hong Kong youths engaging in illegal activities there. We have promotion schemes. When we give talks in tertiary institutions, we invite members of the Alumni Association to share with the audience points to note on their experience in these economies. And if they need our advice in any way, we are very happy to accommodate. We are close partners. I'd like to know more. Well, many economies have this restriction. Hong Kong, a young person cannot serve the same employer for more than half a year. I think that's because they do not want to jeopardize the work opportunities of local people. But for us, do we have similar restrictions? Well, all the agreements are reciprocal. If they impose a limit of 3 months, we apply the same to their young people. For instance, the UK give Hong Kong youths 12 months, and we allow young people from the UK the same length. Mr. Peter Zhang. Thank you. As mentioned by some colleagues, many young people from Hong Kong are away from home for the first time for so long. They may not be very aware of possible risks and dangers.
I don't know if the government has the following to offer. That is, you run courses for the participants, so that when they go to different places, they are made aware of their culture of the host countries, so that they know about the do's and don'ts, and they know about the risks, and advice on how they can seek assistance in case of difficulties, like the location of the embassies. You said that they could ring the immigration department, but then it's better to have local assistance. And what about the case of Hong Kong? I think you mentioned that about 3,000 young people have come to Hong Kong. I'm also concerned about the case of the scheme in Hong Kong. If the Hong Kong employers are to exploit the participants of the WHS in Hong Kong, it will become a laughingstock in the international press. So I also want to find out more about the case of overseas youths staying in Hong Kong. Thank you, Mr. Zhang, for your question. We have been working very closely with the Working Holiday Association. The Labour Department has a website to introduce the various partner economies, and we have got hyperlinks so that people interested can find legitimate job offers easily. And the Working Holiday Association has been very proactive. They have written articles, they have a website, and they talk about the experience both positive and negative. And then together with the 9 economies, we work closely with the consulates. If they need help, they can turn to the embassies or their consulate generals, and they can also seek help from us. For our labor laws, we don't make a distinction between foreign labor or local labor. As long as they are legally employable, then they will be protected by laws. And then the consulates general are aware of this, and then if they tell us that they know about young people being exploited, we'll act immediately. Mr. Yip Kok Him, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it is a very good scheme. Indeed, it enables young people to broaden their outlook. And I can see for myself that the progress is good. But still, I want to get more data. I don't know whether the question was answered or not. We have got 3,400 young people from Hong Kong taking part, or who have taken part. What about the number of applicants? Have you got the data? And after they have arrived in the various countries, I want to know whether we provide assistance to them. Yes, they can have a telephone number to call back, but they go to a faraway place, and what sort of assistance do we give them? Is it adequate? And can we simply rely on the Chinese embassies or the consulate general, so who will safeguard the interests, so that they can have their rights as Chinese nationals being protected? So technically speaking, I want to know what sort of assistance is being provided to them. And lastly, for those who come to Hong Kong, of course, I've mentioned that overseas youths also come to Hong Kong, and I want to know whether we've got sufficient publicity and adequate information for them upon arrival, or would it be the case that even when they apply to come to Hong Kong before the departure from their home country, they are already given the information? What is the case? Which is the case? Let me clarify the data. Since the year 2001 up to last year, 34,000 young people from Hong Kong went to the various places, and then 3,200 young people from those countries came to visit Hong Kong. We say that the scheme is open to those aged 18 or above. This is because we want more mature young people who can look after themselves to take part in the scheme, and not people who are younger. We want them to be more self-confident, more independent, to live away from their parents, etc. When they go overseas, they don't necessarily have to work, because the main objective is tourism. But then it is between 3 months and 6 months, so we don't want them to be working all the time. But if they want to supplement their living expenses, if they want to know more about the culture, lifestyle, they can go to farms and other places. So it's very free. They can go anywhere in the countries involved. So the purpose of the policy is to tell them where they can turn to if they need assistance, and they have to make sure that they're fully covered with insurance. But it's not the same as a study tour, giving them a detailed itinerary day after day. I don't think this is what we are aiming at. And for those in their early 20s, I think they need to learn to live independently, plan for their work and their tours. But of course, we are concerned about their well-being, and we have websites, and in fact, we have links with all the embassies and the consulates general. And the Working Holiday Association has been holding talks together with us. What about the overseas youths coming to Hong Kong? How can they get information about labor law? I think the foreign governments can also provide the information to them, and the Labor Department has also got a website. For the Immigration Department, we don't know when they come, so it will be difficult for us to give them a briefing or to give them an information kit. But I'm sure nowadays young people can go on their website, so they go to the website. Instead of at the time of application, they get the information from the Chinese embassy or they attend a talk. It doesn't take that form. Well, if they apply for a visa at the Chinese embassy, then the Chinese embassy will take care of that. I want to know how and where they provide the information on the website, or can they get the information from the Chinese embassy from our website? Anyone in an overseas country can get the information from the website. Sin Chung Kai. Paragraph 3 of the paper makes it clear that 34,000 went overseas and 3,200 come to Hong Kong. My understanding is that the scheme is supposed to be sort of reciprocal. We have the same quota from them and for them. So obviously, we are not attractive to them. What is the reason? It's clear that our young people very much want to go to their economies. But what about coming to Hong Kong? Is it because of the living environment? The difference is 10 times. 10 times more people go out than overseas people coming in. I don't mind they hosting our young people. But what about people coming to Hong Kong? What has gone wrong for us to be that unattractive? The difference is huge. I think this is because of the case of Australia. Australia just too attractive, too popular. Just for the past 2.5 years, they accounted for 20,000. You may want to know whether that many Australians come to Hong Kong. Well, a lot of factors are at play. Hong Kong is a small place. If we have got 30,000 people coming to Hong Kong, I doubt whether we have the receiving capacity. So usually we have hundreds of them coming per year. So mainly speaking, we have fewer people from Australia coming to Hong Kong. But Hong Kong young people going to Australia, there are tens of thousands of them. But there is still a huge difference discounting the number of people going to Australia. Well, let me be more specific about my question. Is it a case of 2 to 1, 10 to 1, or what? You say that there is a quota. I'm sure you have a record. You know how many have come and how many of us have left for them. So do you have the figures? Do you have the nationalities of those coming to Hong Kong? Say, for example, for South Korea, we've got a quota of 500. Do we have 500 coming from South Korea? Mr. Chen? To answer Mr. Sin's question, Australia is, of course, a very sort of a significant place in terms of 20,000 of them go there. And so we are more concerned about the number of people going to overseas countries because we emphasize the exposure. And then for South Korea and France, well, I think we have more South Koreans coming to Hong Kong than Hong Kongers going to South Korea. For other places, from past experience and figures, of course I can't generalize, but then there are fewer overseas people coming to Hong Kong than Hong Kongers going to overseas countries. I'm concerned because it is a matter of cultural exchange. Mr. Sin, of course it depends on whether their governments are promoting the schemes actively. For us, we have been publicizing it extensively. We go to universities to give talks, etc. For the scheme to be run in overseas countries, it's up to their authorities to publicize the scheme, and we don't know how many countries they can choose from. I think this is about it, but I do have a question finally, and that's about medical service. They do ask us to take our medical insurance coverage. Do we ask for the same? That is for all those who come, they are all covered by medical insurance? Yes. All right, if there aren't other questions, then that's it for today's meeting. Date of next meeting, the 10th of April. Thank you.